give it a minute or so for people to get here.
All right.
You want to pull up your charts and put it on the screen, or do you want me
Yeah,
to?
I can share it here. I've got them. Can you see that?
I have to toggle it. Hang on.
Oh, there we go. All right.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. Happy to be back into a new week. Glad you guys are here. I'm David with the Clear Edge support team, and I'm one of the creators of Kairos Trading Strategies on the Clear Edge Marketplace. So tonight we're going to dive into some more about automated trading, what we're seeing right now, how we approach building and running strategies, and some of the practical insights to help you to stay consistent and to take emotion out of your trading. So if you haven't checked them out already, you can also check us out on the marketplace. Kairos and Market Ninja are both on there with free 7-day trials. You can test them out, everything yourself. There's also several other time-tested strategies on there that you can look at. And if you get any value out of this stream, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us just to keep doing this. Hopefully we're not a dud and the Clear Edge guys are like, you can't keep doing this, man. It's not, not working. So yeah, like and subscribe. Add any questions that you have, drop it in the chat. We'll be answering those as we go. So let's just jump in. Kevin, how's your week been?
Yeah, my week's been pretty good. Been doing some traveling, so utilize that new Clear Edge feature, that remote control. Worked pretty nice. So very happy that they added that. And then the whole new dashboard just looks awesome. Yeah, it's just so much more easy to navigate. So really happy with all the new stuff. Yeah, trading went pretty well this week. Had a couple strategies do real well. One of them didn't do so hot, but that's just how it goes sometimes. Yeah, overall, pretty good week. How was your week?
Well, I'm still paused on Top Step. So, and I was telling you before we started the stream that I broke one of my rules for probably the first time in quite a while. And it's something that I tell people is don't size down when you get in drawdown. But I have 2 funded accounts because my other 3 are paused right now at Top Step, and I think I let that influence my decision making. So I ended up sizing down from 2 contracts to 1, and of course, right after I did that, the strategy went on a win streak and I was up like $400. So I would have been like $800 in profit and basically pulled out of my drawdown that I was in. So it was instead I got halfway out instead of the full way. So that was frustrating. When you break your rules, you look back on it and you're like, why did I do that? So in my reflection, it was definitely due to I guess just this idea in my head that I always like to have 5 funded accounts. Like I don't like to have less. So having 2 right now to trade, I'm like, this is frustrating. And then my evals that I've just been doing the statics lately, and I got killed earlier in the week doing like a test strategy. It was just a 1 minute, and I was like, it's a lot of trades. And I was just like, well, it's on a hot streak right now. So I put it on, and it took like twice the amount of losses that was in the back test that it's ever taken. So it was like, and I was sized up in these static accounts, and I was like blowing one after another, like sometimes resetting twice in a day. And I was like, this is insane. I stopped at like 7, which I planned on doing 10. So I
Hmm.
still have 3 more to do until the end of the month in my budget. So I'm taking those a little bit slower. And I did switch strategies because that one just continued to lose. I was like,
Yeah.
it's so I was like, okay, yeah, let's get this on something else. And I put it on some YM stuff, and that's doing really well. So it was doing really good this week. It had a bad day today, but ultimately it's been doing great. It was still up for the week. I'm really liking that. And then yeah, everything else, I threw a funded account, my one of my blue sky funded account on Market Ninja, and I threw just 1 contract MNQ just so I can kind of watch it. and get a little more used to how it runs and what it looks like, which is what I recommend for everybody starting up a strategy. Don't just go in with size. Go in with just conservatively and watch how it runs. Know what you're looking at for drawdown, not just off the back test, but like legitimately watching it. Because I know some of the stuff I've created that is not to the public, like such as trailing drawdown stuff, where it has a really high win rate, like 85%. Like those can take a couple grand of drawdown in one trade, and then you profit like $300, $400. So it's like, and you don't see that stuff before you actually run the strategy, and you look at it and you're like, okay, so I can't run this on a 50K. I needed to run it on a 150K or something like that, because it's still profitable. So yeah, that was kind of my week. Everything's up for the week, so it looks like I'm still in profit. I mean, on my funded accounts, the trial stuff, the evals I've been throwing around to try to get some more past, definitely did not go super well. But that's all part of my plan for just building up some more funded accounts outside of Top Step. I just to update you guys on the Top Step stuff, I've been going back and forth with them. I reached out to a couple more of their staff that I know, just to see if what their thoughts are. And I mean, I have differences of opinion. And I know Top Step is a hot word right now, but I know one of the guys was telling me that, hey, basically, you don't actually, doesn't necessarily mean the severity is worse. They could be backlogged and had other stuff come up, and you're still running through the process of you needed extra departments to look through your stuff. So it is what it is. I'm not going to really stress about it anymore. It's been 2 weeks now. So, I mean, pretty frustrated over it, but if I let that frustration kind of come to the surface, then it's just going to affect my decisions in other ways, as it probably did this week when I sized down when I really shouldn't have. So yeah, that's kind of been my week. Looking good in my funded accounts, and evals are getting blown.
Yeah, I feel like this market's been good at blown evals lately for some reason. It's still just, I mean, you know, the M&Q, the Ninja did pretty good this week, but GC it actually had a decent week, but not like it's been, you know, it still seems, I can pull that up real quick, but yeah, GC did okay this week. This was Sunday through today. But of course, this is one GC, so you know whatever you run in MGC is what you would you know, kind of figure off of this. But yeah, it just still hasn't, like I said, it's still not how it's been. This is, I don't know. It's still a interesting market, but yeah, I didn't. I was traveling all week, out of town, so I didn't have any evals to blow. Fortunately, I guess I'll save that for next week. The couple that I had running they're still hanging on, and I think I'm more than about 50% done with one now. So that's good. The fundeds had very light running in fundeds. I think just one contract since, you know, I was out of town and was hoping that I wouldn't get any, you know, max loss profit emails when I was out, which I didn't. So happy about that. But yeah, I mean, this week, like I said, just focused on just really keeping it minimal, because I didn't have really that much time to, you know, pay attention to anything, and, you know, being remote and everything. So, so yeah, just kind of went with what I knew, and didn't really do too much different. But yeah, next week, you know, Sunday planning, I'll take a look at everything and probably change all that up for next week. But like you said, like sizing down, even though I wasn't able to monitor, I sized down this week and it was still green. It's like, you know, just playing with sizing all the time, either it's not something I love to do, but, you know, sometimes you have to do it. So I guess what I'll look at next week, you know, when sizing, is just really what did well this week, and, you know, kind of take an overall picture of, you know, where the actual market is too. You know, and, you know, run my size based off of, you know, how I normally do it. But also I haven't even looked at the overall market. I don't know if you do this, David. But I do this. Let me see, I'll pull up this chart. I pull up the overall market every day or every week as well on Sundays and just kind of see where everything is at.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know it looks like I have a lot of indicators, but it's just really RSI, MACD, volume, and squeeze. Don't pay too much attention. I use levels more than anything, or I'll fib this out as well. But my thesis for the week, if I'm going to sit here and like want to run size or want to do something, like I have to see this in in nice structure to start making those kind of decisions, right?
Yeah.
Like when I look at this, I just see nothing but like there is just so much indecision here, and it's just consolidation, right? And it has been for a while now. So it's like, for me to want to size up, I mean, this is the 50 and the 100-day moving averages right here. So we're just on that 100-day, and that 50-day starting to curl down a little bit, but it looks like the bulls held it today. But I mean, you're in the middle of that big, the big bearish engulfing candle from the top too. So, really for me to think positively about this market, we gotta get up and clear this little fair value gap that looks like we closed today. And then we need to see some continuation out of this thing too. And then maybe break up here, maybe come back down in the range, and then, decide to size up or something. But this is just, it doesn't look like I want to push the gas in this climate right here is what I'm saying.
No, it's a support resistant trader's dream right now.
Yeah, exactly.
My buddy,
you got that right there. It's
that just trade support resistance. They're killing it right now. It's it's what's led me to change up some of the stuff I've been making, because I mean we'll need it down the road, especially if because Kairos bands is primarily a trending strategy. So what we build is a trending strategy. So it's great when we break out and we're going in a direction.
Yeah,
it's gonna crush it.
Yeah, like look at all last year. I mean,
Yep.
Let me just shrink some.
Which is why I had a great year last year. It's like using those trending strategies.
I mean, using trending strategies throughout this period of time. I mean, you were just crushing it, and that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. It was just like this market hasn't been like it was last year when a lot of this stuff is just doing so well. Just because of this, really. I mean, we had a little bit of trendiness toward the end of the year last year, but really since the beginning of the year, we've just been in this consolidation right here. So it's really tough to trade that kind of stuff, especially mechanically, right?
Mechanically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to pick your spots as a manual trader and kind of get through that. Anyway, yeah, it's just a different climate right now. So if you are blowing evals, or you're not doing well, or something's not going like you anticipated, just stick with it, and hopefully we'll be through some of this stuff. I know as more things, I guess, geopolitically kind of unravel here. I know we had some tariff talks today about some different things, so I was interested that really it was kind of a muted response. Had a little one this morning from, what was it, right around 10 o'clock, I think, from it, but other than that, it was a pretty quiet day. So I don't know if, maybe some moves happen next week. Just have to keep an eye on everything, but
yeah, maybe we can create an algo that we put out that has like Gov or Smooth or Nara. They just put a couple lines on the chart every day, and then that's where it trades. We just put a simple projection on there and just risk to reward.
Yeah.
And, see how that works. Cause there's it's I mean this is just a part of trading. I was reading a book about Mount Everest where they're talking about climbing, and it's like every year is different. It's like, so you climb Mount Everest one year, and then you go back 5 years later and you're like, okay, I did this before. But it's just, it can be so different. The weather can be different. So many things that you have to adjust to, that somebody who climbed it during a good time might have a real struggle 5 years later or 2 years later when the weather all of a sudden turns and you have just a completely different climate.
Mm-hmm.
So as traders, we have to be adaptable and be able to change to that, and to not get frustrated over this, because it's been 4 months that has been a really tough time, and just kind of getting through it and still being somewhat profitable is great, and like even break even is great, because the good times will come. I haven't heard on Wolf you are. I've heard on Wolf you are. Wild Texan.
Not wild text. I'm not really sure what that means. Can you explain that?
I assume he's talking about Wolf Trades,
Maybe.
but
Yeah. We'll give him a minute to maybe elaborate a little bit, but yeah, exactly. It's been a tougher climate than last year. I will say that.
Yeah, no, it's but that's what makes us grow as traders, and as if you can get through times that are tougher on you, whether or not, even if everybody else is making money and we're in a trending market, everything's going great, or it's in a very ideal market for whatever strategy other people are running, and you just end up running the wrong thing or the wrong settings or whatever it is, like there's going to be times like that where it's just frustrating, and being able to stick with it regardless of what happens, whatever the outcome is, being able to stick with it, is what's going to separate the people that are going to be around 5 years from now and making the money with us when stuff gets great, compared to those who are going to get frustrated and quit. So
yeah, because as soon as this market picks a direction, once we get out of this mess, whether it's up or down, I think both, or most of the algorithms that we have in the store, in the marketplace, they're going to be able to capitalize on up or down movements. So
yeah,
just kind of wait that out, and like I just said, just make sure your sizing is correct through this environment, and then we'll eventually get somewhere, because we always do. But it's easy to look at a chart, but it takes a lot longer in real life, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show something that I've been working on. I talked to Brad about releasing this.
Okay.
So we'll let me see if I can find the chart. I don't think this is it. Let's see. It's Market Ninja.
I don't know.
Okay. Here it is. All right. Stop sharing. All right. Can you see that screen?
Yeah.
All right. So this is one I've been working on, called Kairos Structure. And let's get to YM. So YM, I'm already on the 1 minute. And this is a regular trading hour strategy. So today was kind of rough. It's at its max loss streak that it's taken during the back test. Let's see but it was still profitable for the week, $750. So it was still really good. But you can see how these trades, what we're kind of looking at. So instead of where like bands would like buy first of all, it waits. Where's a really good example of this? All right, here's a good example. You can see the chart?
Yeah.
Make it bigger. All right, so you can see where we had the morning session, chopped around, and then it had its big move down. And then you can see it waited until after this. And this is because ATR filters and different filters that I have on, so that it doesn't try to trade this, because I want it to trade once it gets a little bit slower, and to take advantage of, after the big move, scalping these little tiny moves back and forth. So that's what this was intended to do, was to not really hit the big move, but scalp once it's done with the move, which has worked. It's been great. This strategy itself over, let's see, reset. So this is over 6 months. So 6 months, it's 1.88 profit factor, $1,000 a drawdown, $1,800 of profit, trading just the regular trading hours.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, it's been something I've really liked to run. And let's see, we have on here that I put on, it's got a YM strategy, NQ, ES, and then a NQ 9-minute strategy. And all of these have good risk to rewards. So you can see the risk to reward, and they all have custom long and short risk to reward. So you can change it up. You can set your long profit and your short top profit different, depending on what you want to do. Let's see, this is 9-minute. But yeah, so this is what I've been running on a lot of stuff, and I've really liked it. It's been doing really well. Definitely looking forward to getting this out to people and having some more options, because this is what I was designing for this market, thinking through, okay, what are we seeing? We're seeing in the morning times, we're seeing these big moves that just die off, and they just sit there, and they'll have a great move and then just kind of chop there for another 3-4 hours. So I wanted to take advantage of that chop instead of maybe getting 1 or 2 wins on the initial break and then sitting there in the chop getting chopped up on false breakouts on whether or not it breaks out to the top or bottom. So yeah, that was the thought behind it. And yeah, so still some more work, just testing, getting this stuff, making sure everything's running correctly. But so far it's been running great.
Nice. Nice. It's always, I've thrown a couple more since the Ranger's pretty much done. I've thrown a couple more new development ideas out the last week or two. But yeah, it's always nice when you get a nice back test like that, and then you can just kind of critique and eventually get it ready to release. Yeah, some of these ideas that you have aren't. I've been working on my IB strat, and then I've got another one that I don't know what to call it. It's just an interesting concept. I used to manually trade, so trying to do something with that, but I don't know that TradingView is going to be able to do it. Just running into limitations with some data essentially. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. But this one looks good. This one, I like it. I like, fading the structure break and, taking advantage of those moves. Yeah, really nice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, and I've implemented a few things into it that, hopefully will kind of help. For one, so Brad and I don't like trailing stops in a lot of our stuff. The reversal stuff that you have seems to work really well and doesn't really have the same problem that a trailing stop really has. But with this one, for example, I set a trailing stop. It's at 90 points when it kicks in, so it's already 90 points in profit by the time it kicks in. So it's not like those short scalp ones where it's like you're barely out the gate and all of a sudden your trailing stops kicking in and it pulls back and crushes you.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't think they're, I'll put a trailing stop in pretty much all my scripts now. But yeah, I mean, I'm like you, I like them when they're they activate after 50 points or something, and you trail them pretty loosely. I mean, that you can get accurate backtest results like that because they're not trying to activate intra candle, right? Where they activate and then they get hit right away. That's where you find the false backtest. But if you're kick in at 50 or 50 points, let's just say, and you're going to trail 1 ATR. I like to trail with ATRs, but or you're going to kick in at 50, trail 25 or something most likely that's going to be a much more accurate back test. And you can use a trailing stop like that. But the trailing stops, what I've noticed too, they are bigger trades, right? Like you said, going for the small scalp trades, I just don't see them reporting accurately for back tests.
Yeah. And like Nara says, still could work. You just have to forward test it. You have to keep running it, and it definitely gives you. It's kind of like Rinkos. I was seeing some guys talk in the chat about Rinkos, and I was
Hmm.
like, that's so hard for me to like commit to running a Rinko strategy, because it's like, man, I would have to keep track of the data as it goes forward, and it's like that's just a lot harder for me to jump on board with a Renko strategy unless somebody else has been running it for a year and it has great results. And
Yeah,
I know,
I would do it in that situation too. I actually had a couple, not yeah, I actually had a couple of them off the Algo Pro. I didn't develop them, but I'd use that Algo Pro. Um,
no, it trades multiple times per day, Mark.
yeah, it'll trade multiple times. And I actually got the back test looked good, you know, because they had the not the strategy back tester, but their own back test built into that algorithm that we were running.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I had found some settings that work good on, you know, GC, NQ, and ES. And anyway, it just, I didn't run it long enough, and it did okay, but it was so back and forth. And I was like, I don't think this is accurate. So I just stopped running it. But yeah, Renko stuff is tough because, like, I don't know, those back tests just seem, I think Brad had said too, if you guys ever see like a Renko back test, it's only good for like a day, I think. Like the one on the trading view, like strategy tester. So you'd like you were saying, David, you got to like keep track of all your data, right? If you have a strategy that you're going to do in Renko, you constantly got to be, you know, kind of documenting all that, making sure that you're profitable with it. And some people are. I mean, I'm sure some people have done it, and it's like you said, sounded like those guys in the room today were having some success with what they were running, which is cool. I'm all about it, man. Like I would run one if, like I said, or like you said, if other people kind of verified that the thing that is profitable.
Yeah.
They seem like good ideas. They always look nice on charts when they are trending.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I know. There was another one where people were trying to use Heikin candles
yeah.
in one of the algos I was running, and this guy was convinced that, like, oh no, it's accurate. Like, I'm running Heikin candles. I'm like, dude, it's going up bar close in price, like the algo is. I'm like, you're not like, it's not accurate. I don't care what you do. It's you might be profitable, but that's not the same thing as being accurate. Like, so it's like you're not getting the same price. A lot of quant view strats are Rinkos. That's what I noticed when I signed up for quant view. I signed up for quant view, and I got their like highest paid membership that wasn't like the fully automated stuff. It was like $400-$500 per month. And I noticed that all these charts that people were sharing were all Rinkos. And I was like, dude, I was like, gosh, I have to get into, because I hadn't even traded Rinkos before. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to go figure out a whole new style of trading when I already had my own stuff that was working with and trading that was working decently anyways. So yeah, it's I mean, there's a lot of ways to be profitable in this. For me, I I want the most data that I possibly can before I start something. So it's TradingView right now is it has its faults and it has its issues, and um, but you got to start somewhere and you got to have something to look at. So um, when Brad and I started trading together, we were using an indicator. So it wasn't even, you didn't even have a back test except for the built-in one that
Mhm.
the algo place had built into it. So it was like you you still had data, but it wasn't as far back as you could go with TradingView.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't know. I mean, yeah, trading view is not the best by any means, but it gets you within the realm of, you know, knowing what's you know, knowing if it's going to be worth even, you know, running or not. Um, yeah, and then yeah, so yeah, and sometimes you know, bar any you know, barring any technical issues, it's fairly accurate.
Yeah. 500 for the strats and $100 a month for webhook execution software. I didn't even know about that. I was Yeah, I never even got to the point of automating their stuff. So I was just checking it all out and looking through it. Brad has more experience with QuantView than I do. I know he made like 20 grand before I met him using their stuff.
Yeah, do we have any oh no, I was just gonna check. Any questions? I forgot to make that announcement today. I don't think anybody had any questions. Nope, no questions.
Yeah. I know so we really started getting active in the Facebook page, so we're going to be posting in there quite a bit. So if you're like me and I've not really ever done other social medias, I'm a Facebook, I guess Facebook guy if I'm going to be labeled as any kind of social media. So yeah, we're posting in there, being more active. So if you give us a like, I know Mark, you've already done it, so we appreciate that. Lots of really good stuff coming out the gate with ClearEdge. We're going to be doing a marketing push, and you're going to see new users coming in, and people like Mark, like you're going to be right there to be able to see new guys come in, and at that point, you're going to have done it for a month, 2 months, and you're going to be able to give advice and kind of walk some of the newer guys through some of this stuff.
Yeah, I saw a couple new names as I was scrolling through the chat this week, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Some new people channel too, so that was it's always good to see. Yeah, as the community grows, all of us OGs, it's gonna be yeah, I don't know, it's always interesting to when the communities grow, how they do.
Yeah, so what's Mark, if you're still here with us, how's it been going for since you started? I know you passed a few combines or a few evals, I think I saw in the chat. But I'm excited to see some of the newer guys start seeing the benefits of automation, because it definitely is a whole new aspect to trading that you can let something run. And Market Ninja this week has been a perfect example of very stress-free trading. It just wasn't very stressful to watch Market Ninja trade. It took a lot of really good trades, did really well.
Yesterday, toward the end of the day, really, I was like, oh man, it made sense to take a long down there, but that one, I was like, man, the Bulls got to push it here. But
yeah, wasn't that a winner?
It took its hard exit. It took it. This is the one I'm talking about right here. It ended up, because it was shorted this structure break, right, and then it came up and then reversed to the long, and then it kind of came back down here, and I was like, are they just gonna redump that structure break? But then and then came back down one more time. I thought this was gonna be it, and then they just rallied to the close. So that was a nice win. That one almost hit full TP. It was just short of it. But yeah, I guess the hard exit couldn't have came at a better time.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah,
no, Mark, that's I don't know if you heard early on in the stream where I had actually broken my rules this week and size down midweek, which I never do. I always wait until the weekend and then size down if I want to change something. And we ended up having a great streak on one of the algos, or I was running a thing called Kairos Logic. It's just kind of a variation of bands. And yeah, it had a great couple days. And so now I'm halfway out of the drawdown I put myself in because I decided to size down midweek instead of being out of the drawdown that I was in. So pretty frustrating to break a rule and interfere with stuff. I don't know if interfering you mean by sizing, or if you're talking about like you actually go in and close or open the trades. Either way, make a plan, have it at the beginning of the week, and stick to the plan for however long you say you're going to stick to it. And then if you do break something, be okay just getting back on the boat and being like, hey, not going to let that affect the decisions the rest of the week.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, when I struggle with that, I just say no. What did I decide when I was not emotional, right? Like, what you know. Sometimes like you can even, I don't know how you know how people make their weekly plans. I do it basically all on an Excel sheet, um, and what I'm going to run in each account and everything. But but yeah, I mean, there's times where you know, something will happen midweek or something. You're like, oh man, I don't know if I want to turn it back on, but you really should. You really should. I mean, I've even got to the point where now where it's just like, okay, well, maybe I'll wait until the loss happens, you know, because, you know, inevitably it always happens that way, right? Something happens and then that's a winning trade. And then you're like, all right, I'm going to turn it back on. And then the next one's a losing trade for some
Yeah.
reason. It seems to
Yeah.
always happen that way.
Yep.
But yeah, just keeping it running. Yeah, I mean, this week, like I said, I was out, so I literally didn't even look. Just I haven't even looked at my accounts ended today. I was so busy with work. Um, yeah, and they just run, right? And that's the beauty of automation. That's what we all should be doing, right? We should just, if there's no error messages and you made a plan, that's what we, you know, that's what you should be sticking to. Unless you,
Yeah.
you know, are looking over your plan, you're like, oh man, I'm risked way too big. That's about the only time we really should be
Yeah.
changing anything. You know, or you know, like Nara had said in the group this week too, is like how he runs his evals. He'll run them aggressively, like 2/3 of the way. You know, and
Yeah.
once they're about 70-80% done, he'll back off on that last like 20 to 30%. You know, to getting into the funded stage. Um, you know, there's something to be said about that too. That could be a good plan.
Yep.
Um,
And something you always got to make sure you have is like a scapegoat. So if like somebody look for the people that just started the strategy or something like that and just blame them if they just started for any losses. Like
yeah,
Brad decided to start my YM strategy today and it takes 5 losses in a row. Like thanks Brad. Yeah, I was doing great all week and then Brad decided to put it on and of course it dies. No, it's just one day and it's still well within the tolerance of the back test, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, so Mark says manual exits, flatten positions. I find myself really making a good plan at the weekend, and then by Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm moving things around. Yep, yeah, that's I think something that we've all dealt with and done at certain points. Just
it's
as you
almost
keep
like
doing it, yeah.
we need to talk to Chris to put a lockout feature in ClearEdge. Like once once you set it for the week, you just hit it, and
Yeah.
then it just locks you out of anything.
Well,
Just
the only thing available is to like flatten all. So like if you wanted to flatten one, you got to flatten everything. Like, then you'll never do it. You'll be like, well, I don't want to flatten turn off all my stuff.
yeah, yeah. It is the hardest thing, about this whole thing is just letting it be. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that is really the way to do it.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I would whatever you can do not to manual exit. That's a bad one. I can't count the amount of times. I've heard Nara talk about it on one of the streams with Wolf Trades, I think, where he talks about like automation is just different. Like you can't look at a trade and overanalyze it like you were to do like with a manual trade or something. You got to be okay because the amount of times that I've been like, I want to close out of this trade, and then I go do it. It's like that always goes and hits TP. It's like waiting for you to to close
Yeah,
out early just so it can take off.
it's true too, and this is a great example of kind of what we're talking about here, right? Let me just turn this off for a second. As you see this algorithm take this trade, right, and you're like, oh sweet, this is going to be awesome, right? But if you're watching this, I mean, how many people get emotional on a 5-minute candle like that?
Yeah.
I know I was like, oh dang, I don't think they're gonna, I don't think we're gonna get this one. But had I closed out the position or, not just let it run, you end up just doing more harm than good here, because this thing goes almost a full TP by the end of the day. So again, if you find yourself that if you can't watch it and not do anything, I would just don't tempt yourself, or don't put yourself in that position. You have to be okay with just taking the loss or the win. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I don't know if you guys know how to do this, but on Tradevate, if you're using Tradevate, you can throw all your charts off. So you don't have any charts. All you can see is your account. So you can see the P&L and whatever your drawdown that you have left is. That's how I have all my Tradevate stuff set up. It was because of the VPS. I wanted to maximize the amount of RAM I had so it didn't screw up. But the side benefit is I don't have to stare at the bars when I'm watching that trade, or I have to go over and watch it on TradingView, which I can't execute or do anything on. So it just makes an extra step, which makes it harder to just close out of something. Unlike Top Step X, Project X, where you can just, it's up all the time. So you can go close the trade right away, click a little X button.
Yeah. It's easy to do. But that's another good tip, David. If you can turn the chart off on Tradevate, and it will still, just the actual chart, which you can see. So, hopefully if that affects you in any way, that's a good tip.
Yeah. Make it as many steps. Like if you struggle with closing early, add steps that it would take to actually close the position. Like if you can add 2 or 3 steps to actually needing to go in and close it, then the amount of times I've sat there and been like, man, I want to close this, but it's a pain in the ass to go and do 2 different things to go do it. So I'm not going to do it. It gives you that extra second to think.
Did you ever see the movie? I think it was Dodgeball, when Ben Stiller was fat, but he had that donut in front of him, and he had those electrocution things on his head.
Yeah, I do remember that.
It's we need to get those for people, right? You're just sitting there staring at the screen. You wanna push the mouse, and it gives you a little shock when you touch the mouse.
Yep. Yeah. There's lots of things that you can do to limit your own faults, because we're still human. And I think manual traders, people coming in fresh from just starting automation, and they don't have any background in manual trading and going through the process of blowing accounts manually, I don't think they struggle as much as somebody who's had that chart time and watching these automated trades play out.
Yeah, they automated. Yeah, they're different, right? Because even being a manual trader, one thought that I had actually recently was, in manual trading, we do all these things like set a trailing stop or close out a position at different times. But a question I've had recently with watching these algorithms, like this position especially, it's the data of having a trailing stop it made me wonder how many traders actually said, okay, and I don't think many is where I'm going with this, is okay, well, if I put my trailing stop here every time, what's my profit, right? Versus letting it just hit TP. I almost think we use those, and I kind of alluded to this last week, as almost emotional support, right? It's and that's the thing with this automated stuff, is it's literally programmed. We have the data to say, okay, it does this 60% of the time. Like I said, you can within a couple percent of how accurate that is, but I don't know that you really get that in manual trading, right? It's just, we almost do this stuff in manual trading. So we're lock in profit, but it's over time, if you went back and measured all of your trades doing a trailing stop or taking partial profit or whatever, I wonder what that would look like. I wonder what your P&L would look like, or your performance would look like, versus if you let it go to full target like these algorithms do every time. So anyway, just interesting thoughts as, stuff comes up during the week. And I guess really the point I'm trying to make is these algorithms are programmed. We have the advantage of having reports, and they're going to do what they're going to do 100% of the time, barring any, technical issues. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, well, was there anything that you can think of? Um, just so you were gone for most of the week, so um, and I'm kind of this is Friday for me, and I have date night coming up, so we're my wife and I are heading out to do something. Um, so my brain's already kind of checked out a little
Yeah,
bit, but
checked
it's
out. Yeah. No,
no,
I'm
yeah, go ahead.
I'm pretty good as far as anything I wanted to cover. So yeah, unless anybody else in the chat has any questions or anything that you need us to cover.
Yeah, yeah, Mark, reach out to Kevin or I if you would like to jump on the stream. I would like to just kind of interview how it's been for you so far, just coming in fresh and getting used to all this stuff. Just kind of get your experience on how it's been, how maybe the process could be easier, where the information could be more helpful for getting started. So that way we can make sure to hit on stuff in these streams as new guys come in.
Yeah. Yeah, we almost need like a new person segment, yeah, maybe to
Yeah,
cover some topics once a week, and maybe we can get something together like that. Or
yeah,
helpful stuff like that.
yeah. But the ES or MES settings that are strictly for Ranger, or are there some in the works for Ninja? I can probably create some for Ninja.
So right, yeah. So the Ranger mark is a completely different strategy. So it has its own MES settings. I did work on MES settings for the Ninja last weekend. I didn't get very. I mean, I've got the panel looks okay, but just not good enough for me to share.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'll
well,
look at
I guess I
YM.
would share them, but yeah, I mean that or YM.
Yeah, I would look. I
That's
would like some YM settings for Ninja. Maybe I'll take a look at that over the weekend.
Yeah, I've got it. Yeah, and David, maybe I'll get with you on using that optimizer, because I swear every time I've tried to use that thing, I've said it before, just it never cooperates with me. So if I could, maybe take a look at using that just to get me started in the right direction, that normally helps out a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe I'll talk to you, this weekend or next week, and getting that going.
Yep. And when you guys look at Mark, when you're looking at these back tests, the first thing whenever I look at one, I take the max equity drawdown and I divide it by the total P&L. So that's how I judge a strategy on how good it is. I don't actually look at like it could be $1,000 for 6 months. Like I care less. Like it could be if it's $50 of drawdown and $1,000 of or $2,000 of P&L, then that's like 0.5% or something like that. I'm not good at math, so I'm not gonna try use my calculator. But that's what I'm looking at when I'm looking at how good something is. So I'm looking at I'm dividing the max equity on my calculator with the total P&L, and I like to see it under 10%. So I like it to see it around like 5% is like really good. Anything under 5, I'm like super happy with when I'm creating settings. So if you look at that, and you can kind of get a good idea, because if it's RTY, the P&L is just not going to look the same as NQ. So NQ is going to have, say, anywhere from 8 to 10,000 over a 90-day back test for something that's good with $1,000 or less of drawdown. That's typically pretty good for an NQ strategy, but ES is going to look completely different. Maybe $4,000 over 6 months. But if the drawdown's only 200, 300, $400, then it's just as good. And all you have to do is put multiple contracts on there. So just do two MES instead of one. You might already know all that, Mark. So I'm probably just preaching to the choir. But yeah, it's that's how I judge how the settings are, is taking that max equity and dividing it by the total P&L.
Yeah, and I like that. I care really more, like you, David. I really care more about drawdown than anything, because is that strategy going to make me run that limit of blowing an account, even if I'm running it appropriately? Like that's just a headache to deal with. Also, like when you guys are looking at these tests and trading view too, like I like to look at these. This tells me when I see these like green with these spaces and then this red, that just tells me that this strategy recovers quickly too when it does go into drawdown. That's another thing I look for. I love when I see this stuff because like you're gonna draw down, but chances are if it kind of repeats history here, you're not going to be in drawdown for very long, which also can affect your mental state, and like just giving you opportunity with your accounts too, because longer these go, let's just say they go 3, 4, 5, 7 days or something, you have to mentally prepare for that as well, right? You have to know that this is a characteristic of this strategy running these settings. So like that's something else that you got to understand is like, okay, this happens, right? This is normal. Because again, a lot of times we just focus on these numbers and don't pay attention to the spans of drawdown. Yeah. And that's really important to know as a newer, automation trader.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think unless you have something else, we'll wrap up a little early here.
Yeah.
I gotta get my babysitter all set up before we head out.
Okay. Well, thanks guys for having us and watching. If you guys need anything, just DMs are open. But David, I'm sure I'll see you in the Discord, but hope you have a good weekend and a good week next week.
Yeah, man. We'll talk soon.
All right.
See you, Mark.
Bye.
See you guys. All right.
See you guys.